Morning, America. We're in Portland, Oregon at the Jubitz truck stop. World famous Jubitz truck stop. This is kind of a unique truck stop compared to a lot of the others, just because it's so well known by drivers around the country. It's not a national chain or anything like that. It's a one of a kind truck stop as far as I know. It's a nice place. Right here's the shop across the road and everything, and let's walk into the main lobby building of it here. There's a couple old antique trucks. Last time I was up here, they had a red Peterbilt in here, so I suppose they swap them out. They probably have several of them. They swap them out from time to time. And it's just, the big lobby area. It's kind of like your Walcott, Iowa. They're unique truck stops. They're not just your regular everyday run-of-the-mill truck stop. And here's the big nice restaurant. Really good food in here. I don't know why they're not busy right now, but they got really good food in there. Over in the corner, they've got like a museum, like history of the truck stop. They were started in, like it says right here, 1952, and they've got pictures up on the wall that show the aerial views over the decades, and it's kind of a it's got a lot of history here, a lot of history here. Here's the 50s and the 60s where it's dirt and gravel lot, and then in the 70s they finally paved it, and in the 80s they built one of the main buildings here, and that's the fuel islands and all that right there. And they just kept, every decade they seem to do another big step and new upgrade, so to say. And here's some more old stuff. One of the things about Jubitz is they advertised all over the country and billboards, and I can remember these billboards. Actually, the one in the top left here, out in the middle of Nowhereville, that's Wyoming. I was out by Cheyenne, Wyoming. I can remember that billboard, seeing it myself. I don't remember the other ones, but I remember that one. And what they would do is, truck drivers, they travel all over the country. So even though it's way over in Oregon, in Cheyenne, it's advertising them when the driver finally gets up to Portland. And here's some old memorabilia type stuff about the place. One of the things is right here, this big green disc, and I'm going to pause the screen right here. I want to talk about this for a second. This networking computers, the internet, everybody thinks the internet is, the last 10, 15 years, the internet's been real big, but back in the 80s, the internet was already around. It just wasn't commonplace for everybody with PC computers at home, but the internet was out there already. It was nothing compared to what it is today, of course. But Jubitz come up with this, you can read this thing, this information board here, but they started this networking thing where they would post loads for brokers and stuff. Brokers would come along and they'd be able to post a load on to a network, and it would show up on a TV screen. Well, they'd put these TV screens in other truck stops around the country. For instance, let's say you unloaded somewhere around Omaha, and you'd call, if you're a company driver, you just call your company and they would dispatch you and load you, and you would get your load that way. If you're an owner or operator and you're leased to a company like I am, you'd still do the same thing. You'd call dispatch and you'd go through that. But they were what they called independent truck drivers, or wildcatters, okay? Kind of like in the oil field, wildcatters in the oil field, but in trucking there was wildcatting also. And they were totally independent. They weren't leased to anybody. They had, their name on the door, okay? You remember the TV show BJ and the Bear? He was completely independent, and this would have been one of the ways he would have found. It's a fictional TV show, of course, but this would have been that type of a truck driver. This is how he would have found his loads, is through this load board type network, okay? So what they would do is they would post it, and the driver would be over, let's say, in Omaha somewhere, and unload it, and he'd call a couple of his favorite brokers, and if they didn't have anything, he'd drive on down to the truck stop, and he'd go up into the break room area, and there would be a TV screen up in the corner, and you go over and look at the TV screen and see what loads were posted in the area, and you get contacts through new brokers that you didn't know about, and they would say where it's going, where it's picking up and where it's going to, loading date, delivery date, the pertinent information, and a phone number. And if it looked like a load you were interested, you'd call that phone number and talk to that broker. Well, over the years, that same concept got more and more popular once the internet became more and more popular, and eventually drivers started having internet, computers in their trucks and the internet in their truck, the way I do right now, and you could get mobile internet with a computer and sit in your truck and find loads that way. That was later on, toward the turn of the century, there 2000s and stuff, that became more and more popular, and that's how a lot of stuff is done today. That's why this networking, this Jubitz networking, they don't have it anymore. They took all those TV screens. Nobody needs it anymore because they have the internet. But anyway, this is where that load boards, that's where this was based out of. We're going to go across the road here, or across the parking lot to the fuel island and go upstairs, and that's where the office of this particular service was located at. And all right, so we're going to let's go back out and take a walk around a little bit more. All right, we're going to go down this hallway here to the Ponderosa Lounge and Grill. And that's one of the things this truck stop was known for, was this lounge, this nightclub, country western bar. They've had several big name singers in here. Most of them came in before they got really, really big. They were just starting to get discovered and would come in and play they'd start touring around the country. Well, when they got up to the Portland area, this is one of the places they would stop and do a show. And they've had several big names into this place. As you can see, there's back there was Travis Tritt, and there's Brad Paisley, and Blackhawk, Josh Turner, right there's Jody Messina. I can't read them fast enough here. There's Keith Urban. You get the idea. There were some of these. This is before they actually got really, really big and did the concert type stuff. They would come in on their early tours and come into places like this. Anyway, just the Ponderosa, it was very well known for this kind of stuff in this neck of the woods. Okay, we come in through the front door here, and as you can see, there's the main bar right ahead of us here. They just remodeled this place about a year and a half ago. They did a really, really extensive remodel and everything. There's the pool room over on the left, and there's the stage back in the back corner. It's the middle of the morning. It's about 10, 11 o'clock. It's about lunchtime almost here, and people come in and just eat dinner right here. Instead of going to the restaurant, they'll come in here and eat instead of in a restaurant setting. And later on this evening, it'll turn more into a nightclub bar kind of set up. I talked to the bartender. She said they're celebrating their 50th year this year, 1969 to 2019. It's their 50th year. All right, let's walk around the rest of the place here. The main mall, so to say. They have a post office in here. Those are post office P.O. boxes on the left there. And over here on the right, they have a clinic, and you go in there and get your DOT physicals and things like that. If you have a small, cut or something like that, there's a doctor or some kind of a medic in there that will do medical type stuff in there. Mostly a CDL, physical exams and that type of stuff. And then, of course, there's the backside. There's the post office right here, and all the different video games and whatnot that every truck stop seems to have. And here's the main food court. On the left here, we go into the convenience store, and just outside the doors of this convenience store is the gas pumps that we saw earlier outside. It's a typical convenience store. And we turn around behind us. Here's the deli, Moe's Deli, and have all kinds of pizza and deli sandwiches and hamburgers and hot dogs and just that kind of food. And here's a better look at it behind you, behind the counter, so to say. And then right behind me here's a laundromat. So we go over here, and that's where drivers, you're out on the road for months and months or weeks at a time. You run out of clothes, you come in and you do your laundry. Back into the food court area, and we'll walk down through here and show you different things. I looked off to the left, there's a theater over here, a cinema, and I went over, the door was locked. They're not showing right yet. This is later in the evening they'll show, but what they're showing tonight is, let me see here, Pet Cemetery, and I can't really read that one there, but anyway, just a couple theaters, movies and everything that they'll play tonight. Across the road or across the hallway here is the barber shop, beauty salon. The drivers come in and get the haircut instead of running down to the mall. You know, you got a truck driver parking at the mall. They just come in here to get the haircut. There's a business here. I don't remember what it was. It looked like they were closed down. This is Bernie's Shoe. This is a cobbler. If you have what new soles on your boots or whatever, you can come in here and get that kind of. He sells boots. He sells, you know, all kind of leather works. You know, some belts and things like this. I wonder, I ought to go in there and maybe get me some suspenders. What do you think? There's a huge display for AMSOIL. If you're all into AMSOIL products, that's we can come in and talk to a guy about that. All right, back outside. This is in front of the convenience store area, the gas pumps and everything. Of course, I don't remember what it is. Back in the 90s, they put this huge hotel in, a big fancy hotel, but I think 60 or so rooms, or more than that, I'm sure. Quite a few rooms, and I don't know, that's the front of it. Okay, we're going to go over here to the fuel island, the main fuel building. Okay, there's the fuel truck leaving as we speak. Yeah, I like that shot with the reflection. Isn't that cool? I planned that one out. I waited for him to leave. So anyway, we'll go inside and walk around. It's just your basic fuel truck stop convenience store, and got all the different things you need: your coffees, your candies, your soft drinks in the coolers and all this kind of stuff. And there's the fuel aisle or fuel desk. That's where once you fuel, you come in and get your fuel receipt. You pay for your fuel, get your receipts and all this. Back in the corner, I'm getting ahead of myself. Back over here is another deli, because that other deli was in the other building. This is the one out here by the fuel desk. And that way, when you come in off the road, you want to grab a bite to eat real quick. Just grab a hamburger or something, or a sandwich, whatever. You can grab that and get in the truck and leave. Or you can sit there and eat it or whatever. All right, back here in the corner, up in the top here, you'll see it says showers, and this is where the drivers, once you've been out around. I have a shower in my truck, but most trucks don't. Okay, so you come in here and you get your fuel, and when you buy fuel, they give you a free shower coupon, and you can get, if you get like $50 or 75 gallons of fuel or whatever, they'll give you a free shower, and there they are down the hallway. All right, we're going to come back outside here, and around the corner is a stairwell, and we're going to go upstairs. Now upstairs, we were talking earlier about I started telling you earlier about the internet and all this, the load boards down that hallway. That was where the main offices were for that service, so that business. And right here in this main room, this was the telephone rooms. We had just row after row after row of payphones. This is before cell phones, and drivers would get unloaded. You'd come to the truck stop, you'd park, and you'd come up here and get on a cell phone or payphone and call dispatch. And it's so much easier now with cell phones, because you're driving down a highway, dispatch can call you and tell you to do this or do that. So back over in the corner, way in the far side of the parking lot, is the Blue Beacon truck wash, and there's the line. There's not a very big line right now, so hell, I ought to bring my truck over and get washed. What do you think? All right, so back upstairs, looking out the parking lot, and that's just row of parking. It's not the biggest truck stop in the world, but it's nice. It's just a very nice sized and lots of services here. They're very, very big on driver services and driver comfort. Okay, so with that. That was my little tour of Jubitz truck stop. It's like I said, world famous Jubitz.